Welcome to InDesign CC 2021 Classroom Book, chapter number 11 about importing and modifying graphics. This is not an easy one. There's a lot of different moving pieces. It's going to be a relatively long one, so I'll do what I can to keep you guys busy. So for this one, we need to make sure that you have Photoshop and Bridge installed because you are going to use those later on. Let's go ahead and go into our InDesign. And I'm going to go into my workspace. So window and workspace and make sure I've got advanced. And now let's go do a file open. Oops, wrong one. Let's grab a file and open. And let's make sure we grab the one for chapter 11. And start. It's going to say update modified links. That's fine. Let's do a file, save as, first initial last name, underscore InDesign, classroom in a book, chapter 11, and it's in my 11 folder, so I'm going to go ahead and push save. So we have the ability to import graphics from a number of different programs, and that's what the main job of this one is for us to do. So let's go ahead and take a peek at the different types of images. We've got vector, which are mathematically drawn. They're very crisp. And then we have raster, which is like images that are built off of pixels. Those are our Photoshop documents. And InDesign can play with both. So let's go ahead and take a peek at what we have going on. Let's go view, fit page in window. I'm going to go ahead and scroll that down. And I want to grab my Songs of the Garden logo on page 1. So let's go and grab our pages and come here, page 1. Let's grab our Songs of the Garden logo. And you're going to see if we look in our links file, it's going to tell us a few things like what page it's on, that it's used multiple times. We can see our butterfly over here. So we can tell quite a few different things by looking at these different options, and it's a really quick way if I want to go find this cherry, I can double click here and it's going to take me automatically to, let's try this one. There we go. It should take you automatically to where that logo is being used or where that image is being used. So let's go ahead and go to links panel. Let's look at the graphic name sunflower2.psd. And if we do the triangle right here, we're going to get some information about that image. We can tell that it's on page 5. We can tell it's RGB, which means it's made for screens. It tells us about the profiles, the transparency, the effective PPI, and the PPI, whether or not it's been scaled. So there's a lot of different information you can pull. It's also got all of that metadata underneath it. So if you want to find out that, that's where we find that information. All right, by default, we find our pages, our images are shown by page, but you can go ahead and click on the top columns and it will go ahead and change how you sort those images, which is important if you've got one with a lot of different stuff in it. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our panel options here. So we're in links. Let's go to panel options. Something I want you to get in the habit of doing, having that actual PPI and effective PPI on. Say OK. So actual PPI and effective PPI lets us know how much it's been scaled, how it's been used. So we can tell when we're doing our publications, we want to have our resolution at 300. So we want this first number to be 300. We want this second number to be as close to 300 as possible because that means that it hasn't been scaled. We are using it pretty much exactly as is. If this number was 1,000 and something, that means that you're trying to fit a really big image into a really small spot, and that's not going to help you in the end. So let's go ahead and take a peek at a few different things. Let's go to the triangle. And it's telling me that this is changed, but I don't see any changes. All right, so you could end up with a little triangle right here that says this image has been changed. If you did, you'd have to double click it in order to update it, and you can update down here at the bottom. So I think I should not have pushed update modified links in order for that part to work. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump to a few other things. Now, one of the things you may have noticed is that this is really ugly, and we don't necessarily like how jagged it is. Part of that is because when you place an image in document, InDesign automatically creates that low resolution preview of it. And it's not actually bringing the entire image in. That's why those linked panels, those link packages are really important. So if I want to make sure I see everything nicely, let's go to View, come down here to Display Performance, and go to High Quality. And it'll give me a nice crisp look at what's going on. All right, so now we're going to import and bring in some images and things. So I'm going to go and close. Let's go to Page. Let's go to 5. And you're going to see we've got a few different squares here. So let's go ahead on our Layers panel and make sure we're working on our photos, because we want to make sure we're putting things in photos. We want to go grab File and Place. And then we want to grab the blue hydrangea.psd. So make sure you're in your chapter 11. All right. Open. It's going to say, where do you want to put it? So we have to decide, where do we want to put this? Let's go ahead and open the end one so you can see kind of where we're going. Open. Let's grab that end file. So right now we're going for this area right here. All right, so I should have, I lost my hydrangeas. Let's try again, File, Place. Let's grab that blue hydrangea, open. There we go. So now if I go ahead and just click, I'm going to go ahead and get the whole image the size it is, which is way too big. So there's a few different ways to deal with that. So we can rescale it, we can resize it the original, we can draw the box that it goes into. So what we're going to do instead is take our selection tool. We're going to do Shift and Control or Shift and Command and drag that handle up so that we can go ahead and make it a little bit smaller. So the control helps you resize the frame as well as the other elements. So let's go ahead, have that there, and drag image down till it appears next to the empty frame. So hold on, let's take a peek at where it's supposed to be. All right, it's supposed to be right on the outside of that purple. All right, so let's take it down, bring it here to the outside of that purple. And you kind of see those guides start to pop up and show you that they are lining up. So that is what we want. So let's go ahead and we want to resize. We've got a few too many leaves. So let's go ahead and hit the content grabber, the donut in the middle. And we want to resize what's inside. So I'm going to hit Shift and pull. It's going to make that image bigger without making the frame bigger. Now I'm going to grab that content grabber and put that back in the middle here. So sometimes there's a difference between grabbing the frame and grabbing the object itself. So you kind of have to pay attention to which one you're going to be playing with. And that can, when we finished up, we just created this blue hydrangea. Now we're going to go ahead and fill some of the other boxes. Let's go ahead with our selection tool and grab this box, this frame over to the left of the hydrangea. And we're going to go to File, come down here to Place. And we want to go ahead and find the butterfly on flower.psd. So I need to make sure I'm in the right folder, which I am not, but that is okay. I've got a lot of different things going on here. Let's go to the desktop. And we want to make sure that we are in, which one? InDesign, lesson number 11. All right, and we want butterfly on flower.psd and say open. And you're going to see we've got a few different things going on. It looks a little bit funky as it comes in. So let's go ahead and make sure that we make it fit correctly. So let's go to Object. Let's come down here to Fitting, about halfway down. And we want to go ahead and fit content to frame. So Fitting, fit content to frame. No, yes, fit content to frame. There we go, middle of them. All right, so now we see when we do this, it's going to do something really weird and stretch and squish our butterfly, which we don't necessarily like. So we want to go ahead and scale the image without distortion. So let's go ahead and do a object And let's go down here to fitting, and let's do fit content proportionally. And what that's going to do is make sure that it adjusts the butterfly both the same amount up and down, vertical and horizontal. So the image now is not distorted, but it is a little bit too small. So now let's try object, and let's try fitting, and let's do fill frame proportionally. So now you're going to see that we've got our butterfly. He looks much better. He's not too small. We could take our donut and squish him over a little bit if we wanted to. So you definitely want to make sure you're using those fitting tools to make sure that your images aren't getting squashed or looking really weird. If you look over in your properties panel over under frame fitting, you'll see you've got quite a few different options as well if you didn't want to go up to object and fitting. All right, so one more thing we can do while we're in there is do object, and we come down to fitting, and we can do the content aware fit. And so what that is going to do is it will intelligently fit your image to get the best placement. So now you can see we've got the inclusion of the flower, we've got the butterfly as well. So it's a nice little hack cheat to make them come in really well. Let's go ahead and click down to this circular frame, and we're going to go ahead and put the calla lily in there. So we're going to select it, and let's go ahead and place the image of the calla lily. So file and place. Let's go ahead and grab calla lily and open. And we're going to go ahead now and do the object. Come down here to fitting, and go ahead and do content aware fit. And it's going to go ahead and fit that circle a little bit better than it was before. And now we've scaled, it's been moved, looks better all together. So let's go undo it so we can kind of see what it did. All right, let's go ahead and put that in there. And let's do the object, content aware fit. It doesn't really change a whole lot to me. Now let's try it. Object, fitting, content aware fit. There we go. Now it moves it back over. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and place a graphic into an existing frame by dropping from the desktop. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to open up two windows side by side. So you can do this on two monitors. I'm just going to go ahead and shrink this up a little bit so that I've got both of these side by side. So I can go ahead and depends on how you've got your stuff set up. I'm going to go ahead and click on this next box over, and I'm going to scroll down in my lesson 11 folder, and I'm going to go ahead and grab the one called Starflower, and I can take that Starflower and just drag it directly from my desktop straight over to that box, and it will place that for me. I'm going to go ahead and resize those windows, and I'm not totally happy with how it looks yet, so let's go Object and Fitting, and let's come down to Fit Frame to Content. So it's going to make it a little bit bigger, and I'm pretty happy with that. Let's click out, do a Control S and save. And so now we're going to go ahead and use Adobe Bridge to import some graphics. So Bridge is a separate application that allows Creative Cloud users to see their assets a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and go to our page number 1. And let's go ahead and go to Choose, go to File, Browse and Bridge. Right up here at the top, and it's going to go ahead and pop open Bridge for us. And from there, we can go ahead and find our different types of assets. So now we've got our browse in Bridge. And now we'll go ahead and pick up with part number 2.